My name is Beau Manatt. I come from a small town called DeWitt. It's in eastern Iowa, and I went to a Catholic K-8 school. My dad is still very much Catholic, and he really wanted me to go through that school. We always went to church every Sunday. Every Wednesday after school, we had to go to a little church service, and I always went to school learning about God, learning about who God is, learning Bible trivia facts, but never really learned how to follow him and how to be saved, except for like being a good person, doing all the sacraments that they tell you to do, and just living out a good and holy life. During high school, I'd say I'm a good person, so God loves me. But not only that, but I'd say like I don't go to parties, I haven't had sex before marriage, so therefore God also loves me because I don't do bad things. But yet still in my heart, I had hate for people, I had lust, I had pride, I had anger. I was still living for myself. I put on this facade in high school whenever I'm around people, but as soon as I'm back home, I'd lean into the ways of the world. I came to TCU as a college student, going into film, and I knew I wanted to get plugged into a good church, and thankfully God provided Doxology's college ministry called Encounter. I met them pretty early on, and I really liked the environment that it was, and getting involved in some Bible studies where I could really see the Word play out and read the Word with other believers. But yeah, I got plugged into there and kept hearing the gospel over and over and over, nodding my head, being like, yeah, that's what I believe, but never letting it change me. Eventually, Encounter led to the spring mission trip to Guatemala, and I wanted to go on it because I thought I was a good person. And thankfully, I was able to go on it. I was trained to share the gospel with other people, which was really cool to see how God worked in my heart while I was talking to people about how we're saved by grace, not by works. And I heard it over and over. I was even telling other people about it, and that's what I'd say, I believe, but it wasn't until one of Sam, the college pastor, he gave a sermon during our mission trip, and I forget exactly how he worded it, but he really hit on the aspect of us being sinners, not deserving God's love, but yet he still gave it to us freely, and that we don't deserve God. Because up until this point, I always thought like, oh, I'm a good person, so I deserve God's love. But I remember specifically that sermon, after hearing that, walking outside, sitting on a bench, writing in a journal, saying how I want to dedicate the rest of my life to this message of how I don't deserve you, God, how I'm a sinner, but yet you loved me enough to take my place on that cross. And it changed me. I didn't just nod my head to that message, but I can truly say that as soon as I got home, I lived by the knowledge that I'm saved by grace and trusting in that grace, not just saying it. And I learned that the gospel's not just the A, B, and C of the Christian life, but it's the A through Z. It dictates everything about our walk with God. It dictates everything of how we live our life, knowing that I don't deserve anything good in this world, but God gave me everything through his Son. Everything that I need is through what Jesus did, and I don't deserve it, but God still loved me. If I were to meet someone who was like me in high school and before high school, who said the right Christian words, wore the right Christian merch, and said that they were Christian, but they're really living life for themselves in their heart, the verse I'd show them is Ephesians 2:8-9. For by grace you are saved through faith. And this is not of your own doing, but it is the gift of God, not a result of works, so that no man may boast. I have nothing to boast for. I can't say that I do good things and so God will love me. That's not how God's love works. God loved me before the beginning of time, and I could do nothing to earn that. He simply loves me despite me being a sinner and calls me into his home just by putting my faith in him.